Now, any day I get ready to ride my R1 crossplane, it's always a good idea to have an extra cup of coffee and make sure everything mentally is in place, because this bike can get very exciting in a big hurry, especially on the back roads. And the reason is, of course, it is the last year Yamaha chose to make a bike this powerful without traction control. And although it handles great on the back roads, there's always that little chance that it's going to do that little step out thing and scare the bejesus out of you. And you can share it with us in 4K. Well, one thing good about any day you ride the R1, you never have to worry if you forgot to turn the traction control on, because there is no traction control. But it is a beautiful day and we are getting out on the open road today. Well, I'm just a big creature of habit. Anytime I get to ride, I know ahead of time I want to ride a clean bike. That's pretty easy to do, and I do enjoy doing it. I do not like riding a bike that's been all full of bugs and the wheels look like they just came out of a sewer or whatever. But some of my friends disagree with me, and we could still be friends. It's not like politics. We could still be friends. You ride a dirty bike, I ride a clean bike. That's all. End of discussion. We could still be friends. I check the air in my tires. You don't. We could still be friends. And that's the whole thing to gather from, I guess one of the things you could pick up from the video. I have a radar detector. Some people don't need one or don't want one. Oh, everybody's got something special they need to do. I need to feed the fish to be happy and to make them happy. I like to make Karen happy before I go out on the road. And she's always very happy when I take care of the basic chores around the farm. I like to do the chores before I go out on the open road. I always like to pick some fresh flowers. I always like to get her all set up for her cooking adventures whenever she's going to cook. We have plenty of fresh flowers this time of year. And in this case, we're still picking tomatoes pretty much every day. But it looks like Guy has got more tomatoes than I do. He won the Tomato GP. Time to go. Now, I've learned in the past, never just pull out of my driveway. You never know who's out there or that you could have a problem. But it's time to get on that throttle. Time to go. Now, I do know some of my friends do enjoy riding on highways, multi-lane highways at high speeds in a straight line or some kind of drag racing equivalent. I prefer the back roads, and for a lot of reasons. There's a lot less law enforcement, and it's just a little more interesting and exciting, and less cars coming at you and less cars in the rearview mirror. And that's my definition of a great ride. Anytime I can be sitting and looking at nobody behind me and nobody ahead of me in a whole ride. Now, we are still testing a set of Pirelli Angels, and the problem is so far the front one is wearing the edges out a lot faster than the middle, pretty much like what the Dunlops did on the MT-09, so I don't know. But we'll report the whole thing on the Pirelli Angels when we swap them out, and every rider and every location and every style you ride, and it all comes into play. And usually I wear the back tire out first, but in this case it looks like we're going to wear out the front one before the back. Now, last time I rode with Guy, he said something interesting. That he said, geez, you know, his Aprilia runs out of gas very quickly. It doesn't get great mileage. Well, I'm not so sure this is the mileage king of the universe either, but when you reset the speedometer, you can always check the average mileage, and I've checked it, and it's in the low 30s, maybe 33 or so, but it's sure not great, but it's not as bad as the RD. But when I think of the performance you get for that, it can just scare you. This is really a scary bike. if the reason you're riding a sport bike is for to get ready to go to the races or race your friends or something, race around the bagel stores, this might not be the bike for you. This is a bike that's made, in my case, I've got it set up so it's comfortable and it's just fun to ride on the back roads and quiet when I go through these heavily populated areas. Now, when I first got the bike, I made a lot of little carbon fiber parts from scratch. The tail tidy, the heel pads, some of the other little parts that are up under the front fairing, and of course, the nose pieces. Now, I call those inserts that replace where the normal stock headlights would be, the Josh Hayes headlight inserts. When I saw Josh's bike down in Millville, and I loved the look of those two big scoops in the front of the bike. It was like a Camaro, like an old Camaro, like Michelle's Camaro. Big scoops in the front, like the MT-09 has. A lot of modern bikes, of course, have it. But I made those, and that was, boy, the biggest labor of love. And what gets me is not many people even noticed them. And if you're not familiar with back in the day when this was the bike of the year, back in 2009, and that day, of course, is long gone. The other big mod to the bike that I really thought was worth the time and effort, it took me many hours, was painting the wheels silver, stripping them down, painting them. All that information and those videos are out on the channel. Just search my channel. And as of today, we have over 37,000 miles on the bike, and so far it's held up really well. Everything about it, the suspension, the engine, everything seems just like a new bike to me. And I keep procrastinating about getting a quick shifter kit, and what I'm already thinking this winter that is definitely going to be on my honey-do list, or my do list. Get a quick shifter. And if you follow the channel, you know I've recently posted a video of making the carbon fiber mufflers that I had on the bike for 7 or 8 years. And because we changed our riding area to this area, where we have to go through some populated areas, the stock ones have proven to be, I think, a little more realistic. And there's been a lot of people have asked me at meetups and stuff, where did you get those headlight inserts, those scoop inserts? And when I tell them you have to make them, they probably don't believe me, but I did make them. Now, all styling is in the eye of the beholder, but this bike, when I saw it in real life at the Javits show, that was a selling feature for me. I sat on it, and I fell in love with it, and I had to have one. Now, the way this day was playing out, it was getting hotter and hotter by the minute. Not really super hot, but I was trying to stay in the shade for a good part of the ride. These back roads, there's plenty of shade for when it does start to warm up, and the roads were pretty clean today overall. Now, one thing Yamaha got right was the ride modes on this, because when the roads do get slippery at the end of the year with the leaves, and then when they salt the roads, when they get slippery and you still want to go for a ride, having that rain mode, or if you get caught in the rain, very convenient. And I added a Sprox, S-P-R-O-X-X, a rear sprocket, Sprox. Years ago, it has held up really well, and it's got a Regina chain. I enjoy the diversity of motorcycling, the fact that some people do enjoy dirt bikes or drag bikes or road race replicas or just plain old comfortable street bike cruisers. I really wish I had more life to spend on a motorcycle. I wish I could get home from a ride and be rejuvenated and go out for another ride. But you know what? At 79 years old, I'm just glad I do get to ride almost every day. And I do try to make the rides a little bit different. And in this case, with this bike, a little bit exciting. Maybe that's part of what keeps you young. I don't know. Scare yourself to death almost every day of the week. And this truly was a super nice day. The weather played out beautifully. The scenery was beautiful. The leaves haven't really started changing, but pretty soon they will be, and every ride will be just totally different, full of orange and red leaves. But it's time to get back to the farm. And as I pull into the driveway, I know Karen's already got the iced tea ready. Well, there's just no such thing as a bad day out on the R1. Every day gets better and better. 15 years with this guy. Still a load of fun. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button if you did, and thank you so much for watching.